Making this video kind of makes me feel like I'm in 2019 again, because in 2019, when Modern Warfare 2019 was out, every single week, every time there was an update, there would be leaks put into the game. Every time one of these data miners would check the game code, there would be new game modes, new characters, new files, new assets, new weapons found within the files. And it hasn't quite gone to that extent yet, but it appears as though we are starting to get more and more files found within Modern Warfare 2. And today, that is exactly what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the leaks revolving around Season 3 of Modern Warfare 2, some of which have already been confirmed by the devs, some of which have been found in the files for the game, all of which will seemingly be coming. Now, there's many other things that have gone on this week in the Call of Duty zeitgeist, so also in this video, we're going to be going over a couple of those as well. I used to do a series on this channel called the Call of Duty Weekly Reload, where we looked at all of the Call of Duty news for that week. This is going to kind of be that, but predominantly focused on the leaks that we have got for Season 3. So without further ado, let's dive into the news. The first thing we have today is for those people out there who ever wanted to actually own a Raygun. No, the thing doesn't work, but yes, it still costs $600. So today in the Call of Duty shop, they released the statue of the replica Raygun, and it looks absolutely amazing. I have to say that they made this thing look beautiful. It's Kami Arts that has created it, and it looks amazing, but it is $600. So it is not cheap at all, and we were kind of wondering what was going to be in the Call of Duty shop, what they were going to be releasing. And if it's things like this, it appears as though most of the stuff that they're going to be releasing is going to be relatively expensive. But I have to say, they did do a pretty good job on it. The second and final thing before we dive into the Season 3 news, I feel like I almost need to be a lawyer to understand what's going on with it. But as far as what we're talking about here, it is the Microsoft acquisition of Activision, Blizzard, and King. And essentially what has gone on over the past week is it appears as though EU regulators are going to approve the acquisition, which was kind of seemingly the final and biggest hurdle that they needed to get over to make this happen. So we are one step closer. I've seen some odds on it where before this went through, it was about at 50% that it was going to happen. Now it's like an 80% thing that Microsoft is indeed going to be getting control of Activision, Blizzard, and King. And keep in mind, that doesn't just mean Call of Duty. It means Candy Crush. It means every Blizzard IP, World of Warcraft, all of those kind of things. And if those all go onto Game Pass, all of a sudden Game Pass gets really, really enticing to Call of Duty players because you'll be able to play like every Call of Duty game you want to with just the click of a button. So pretty cool news there. I'm curious, do you think that's a good thing, bad thing, great thing for Call of Duty? Let me know. So then we get into our Season 3 news and leaks. So the first three things we have already talked about on the channel, which are the new operators. So first of all, there has been operator files found in the game for 3 characters: Alex, Alejandro Vargas, and Valeria, all of which were characters, well, kind of in the campaign. Vargas and Valeria both were, and then Alex has recently followed it up in Raid Episode 2, and assumably I would be willing to guess that he is probably the first character that we will receive as an operator, probably with the beginning of Season 3. But just keep in mind, it could also be Vargas or Valeria as well. Now, this was followed up by the DMZ leaks that we talked about earlier this week. Now, as far as these, basically what is going on is there appears to be some sort of faction reputation being added into DMZ. So if you're going through the Crown faction and you level that up all the way, you're going to have little bounties that you can complete, build up your reputation with them, and then there will be locations on the map where those soldiers will actually fight with you as opposed to against you. Now, we don't know to what level this is going to be, if there's going to be Shadow Company operators in there, if there's going to be Alcatala, if there's going to be different missions for both of those. We don't know, but we do know that that is something that they are going to be putting in place. But as far as the big ones that have come out in the past couple of days, we have a new weapon that has been found in the game files, as well as a bunch of game modes. So as far as the new weapon goes, it appears as though the FAMAS is in the game files. This is a fan favorite weapon going essentially all the way back to the original Modern Warfare 2. Now, whether it's going to be a burst weapon or whether it's going to be fully automatic like we saw in Black Ops 1, I don't know. But what we do know is it is in the game files and should be making a return most likely with Season 3. So then we have our game modes, and starting out with the big one, I just wanted to get this one out of the way right away, is Warzone Ranked. Now, Warzone Ranked, in my opinion, if they take what they have with multiplayer rank and implemented it into Warzone, The one thing that they're going to have to fix is hackers. There's going to be a ton of them. You're going to encounter them in every single lobby because there's just more people in a game than there is for multiplayer. On top of that, it is free to play. So when they release this, it has to be really good. This is one thing that I think people are really going to come back to Warzone for. And if they knock this out of the park, have good rewards, and make great replayability, this could be the one thing that saves the crap out of Warzone. And I'm really hoping that is the case. But again, they have to do a really, really good job with it. But that's not all for Warzone in Season 3. Because of course, as they announced, Plunder is making a return as well in solos, duos, trios, and quads. Now, back in Warzone 1, Plunder wasn't really my cup of tea whatsoever. I wasn't even really interested. I only ever played it just to test out weapons for Warzone. So to me, it's not that big of a thing, but ever since Warzone 2 was released, I've seen many comments and many people asking for Plunder to make a return. So if you're one of those people, let me know down in the comments and let me know why you like this type of mode. I'm very curious. It's not my cup of tea, but people definitely like it. And then we get into the multiplayer side of things. So the two game modes that are coming to multiplayer are Capture the Flag and Demolition. Personally, to me, these are relatively boring. Out of the two, I much prefer Demolition. Just Capture the Flag always felt a little slow to me, but hey, that's my opinion. If you play a CDL or any sort of competitive, Capture the Flag might be something you're a little bit more familiar with, but to me, not my cup of tea. But the final thing that's coming, and this is one of the biggest, at least in my opinion, is Gunfight is making a return. Now, there hasn't been any details on whether Gunfight is just going to be a specific gunfight mode or whether tournaments are making a return. To me, gunfight tournaments were one of the most fun I had playing within Call of Duty Modern Warfare, even in Black Ops Cold War. I loved gunfight tournaments. I like that you could play through them, and in Cold War, they made it so every single week they updated what the rewards were. I think that's a great system. I would also love some sort of ranked system within gunfight. Now, I highly doubt that is going to happen, but I would absolutely love it. Implement that with tournaments. It would be a lot of fun. It's, again, like we talked about last week, it's all coming back to replayability, giving reasons for players just to play one more game. Let me hop on for one more game. When you play ranked play, that's to get your SR rating up a little bit more. Maybe move to that next level. In Warzone ranked, it'll be a very similar thing. And they need to think about these things when they're implementing gunfights and replayability in multiplayer. One of the biggest replayabilities in multiplayer was the weapon leveling, going through the different weapons, leveling them up every game, getting a new attachment. And then once that's done, getting one game closer and closer to that next camo. Things like that they need to be thinking about and on the forefront for the game moving forward. But for now, those are all of the Season 3 leaks that we have heard so far. We got the FAMAS making a return, Plunder, Warzone ranked, Demolition, Capture the Flag, and finally Gunfight. We don't know whether that's tournaments or not yet, but that's everything we know. So if you enjoyed the video, you found it informative, always appreciate it if you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure you subscribe, have notifications on, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.